You know those little dots under an Instagram carousel post in the mobile app? The ones that show how many slides or pages there are. Well, what if I told you that those dots can actually be used to make an interactive animation? There's a new kind of post that's starting to trend that turns a regular carousel into a swipe-triggered stop-frame animation. It's interactive, it's playful, and it's really scroll-stopping without needing to be video. Now, I've wanted to create one of these for a while, and so today I'll show you how to design this in Canva. On any Instagram carousel post on both Android and iOS apps, if you hold your finger on the dots under the post, it activates a way of essentially scrolling through the slides by dragging your finger on the dots, rather than by swiping on the images. And we're going to use that functionality to make something really fun and interactive. Just a quick note though, this is specifically for the mobile experience. Now there are lots of ways that we could approach this, but I wanted to do something that was a little bit hands-on, especially with AI-generated everything flooding social media right now. I wanted to make something that felt more human and real. So I created a graphic that I want to reveal in this, and I printed that out in the center of a single piece of paper. Then I literally just crumpled that piece of paper up into a ball. Next, I placed that ball of paper on my desk and I took a photo of it from above. Then I uncrumpled it a little and took another photo. And I repeated that about 6 more times until the last photo showed the paper fully open, flat on the desk. Now, I didn't use any fancy equipment or cameras or anything, just my phone, natural light, and a flat, plain surface. And once I had all those photos, I just transferred them to my computer to work with in Canva. This technique uses Instagram's carousel format, so we're starting with a 4:5 ratio Instagram post size. I'll change the background to one of my brand colors, and even though this isn't a video, I'm going to click on duration and switch to the timeline view, which makes it easier to preview the animation effect, which I'll show you in a minute. Now I'll import all those photos I took into Canva. And then starting with the first photo, the one that shows the paper fully crumpled up, I'll add it to the first page. I'll crop it slightly to remove any unnecessary space, and then I will use our good old background remover. Then with that isolated image selected, I'm going to click on Edit and Shadows and choose either curved or angled shadows, whichever works best for you. The idea is just to add a little subtle depth to this. Now I'm going to add 2 guides by clicking and dragging from the rulers on the side and top. That'll help us line up each image in the center of the page. And by the way, if you don't see the rulers, just go to File and Settings and then select Show Rulers and Guides. Or you can use the keyboard shortcut Shift and R when you're on the page. Now I'll add a second page and repeat the process with the next photo in that sequence. And I will then keep repeating this process with each successive photo until the last page of our design shows the photo of my piece of paper uncrumpled, flat on the desk. Next, I'll select all the pages, and in the contextual menu bar at the top, I'll set their duration to 3 seconds, just so that we can see them all easily in the timeline at the bottom. Then we'll drag the playhead from the left right across all of our pages, and we can immediately see that kind of stop frame animation effect come to life. The ball of paper unfurls, revealing our graphic. Now that we've created the motion steps, the final touch is inviting your audience to take control and animate it themselves. But before we do that, if you're enjoying this and you want more honest, down-to-earth tips on how to use Canva like a pro and create content that actually feels like you, then I'd love to invite you to join my weekly newsletter called Meaningful Creations. Every week I share tutorials and tips, behind-the-scenes stuff, inspiration, and practical advice for building an intentional online business without losing your soul or your weekends. It's basically where I share all of the good stuff, really. You can sign up at createdbywayne.com/newsletter, and the link is on the screen right now and in the description below the video. Okay, so now we need to add a few essential finishing touches to our stop motion post. First, we need to make sure that people know how to interact with it. So we're going to add some instructions. Now for this design, I'm just going to duplicate the first page, and at the bottom of that page, I'm going to add a very simple text box with instructions that just say tap and hold on the dots and then drag left and right. I'm also going to search the Canva Elements library for carousel pagination posts, and I'm going to use the graphic under the text with a rounded rectangle behind it, so it mimics what they see in the app, and it's really clear what we're referring to. And I'll even add a little arrow to make it even more obvious where to find those dots. Now lastly, I'm going to duplicate our final page 3 times. That way it kind of stays on screen longer when you're animating it with that stop motion. And on the last 2 pages, I'm going to add a little message to go with the graphic. For this one, I'm just going to add a really simple text box that says Happy Pride. And of course, I'll add a little bit of branding. And when we're done with that, we just click Share, choose to export the pages as either JPEG or PNG still images, and we can upload them to our Instagram as a carousel. And the finished product looks and works something like this. Now it might take a little time to put one of these together, but once you get into it, it's such a fun and creative way to add motion and curiosity to your Instagram feed. I mean, you could animate a simple shape, you could animate letters to form a phrase, or you could use individual elements from the Canva libraries to create a little story. The key to all of this is that it invites interaction. It turns passive scrollers into active participants in your content, and that is so valuable for both connection and engagement. So have fun with this, get creative, and invite your audience to help bring your content to life. That's it for me this week, folks. Please take care of yourselves and have a fabulous week. I'll see you soon.